Okay, folks, back at it again. Give ourselves a little bit of room here. Okay. We'll need this soon, but not right now. So on tap for today, or for this morning, I should say, we've got the sandbags and road wheels, sandbags and more sandbags, and tracks and road wheels and jerry cans that we're planning on painting for these three panzers. So, and then what we're going to do is we're going to paint a Panzer Commander for that one. In the meantime, in the areas when we got to wait for things to dry and we can't make any further progress. And the other thing we can do when we can't make any further progress is two of these tanks need the drippings and stuff on them, so we'll need to do that as well. So first thing we're going to do is let's paint everything that's going to need to be Panzer Gray, which is really the road wheels here on those two tanks. And I'm actually going to paint this one Panzer Gray as well. Oh wait, this is the other model tank, isn't it? Technically this should be on the other vehicle. There's nowhere really to sit it up here, is there? Without it being glued. There's not really a mount for it, so I don't want to entertain that. Does this fit on here? Yeah. Okay, this will be one of them as well. Can always add more stuff to it if I want to. Okay. Let there be light. Let there be more light. Okay, we're going to start off with Panzer Gray. There's not much. There's not much we're going to paint Panzer Gray. And like I said, next time I do a batch of 3 tanks, knowing what I know, I'll go ahead and pre-glue this stuff on here. I just wasn't sure I was going to do it to begin with at all. because it's not really necessary. I mean, it's not like, man, these tanks don't look like crap. They look like crap because there's no junk on them. That's not the case. So now the jerry cans there, I didn't bother painting them. I just dry brushed over them, and honestly, I really like how that looks. So I'm probably going to keep that thing going. These will just get a dry brush of that. These will have to wait a little bit so I can dry brush the ochre. And the tracks will have to be painted that dark brown color. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. The additional tracks. Oh, we need to put a little bit of water here. We definitely need that on our. And I was going to go on my camera, or to get more people on my camera, my phone, get more people to sign in, but it's very restrictive with what I have. We'll do a phone session today when we go and seal these guys. Take them to the garage to seal them later this afternoon, evening, something like that. I hope we can get to that point. We still got the 2 Panzer IIs to do. Just going to paint a little bit of the top here in case any of that shows. This is going to go up against the hull. That all the tracks. Okay, now we'll get the yellow ochre. I think I remember what color I used for the sandbags. I was like, oh shit, I forgot. I'm pretty sure it's just a regular khaki. We'll find out quick enough. Or that was the starting point for it. I rarely add any colors to lighten it up other than I rarely add a color to lighten other colors up that's not white. It's rare. I do it so rarely, other things, so that helps trying to decipher what it is that I used. And then we'll need to let that dry for a little bit because we're going to give that a little bit of a brown wash so it matches everything else. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get the little vestiges of where is it? It's back there. The vestiges of dried paint off of here. So that the bristles of this can lay flat up against itself. And we'll neutralize it with the power of water. Okay. Khaki. Pretty sure it's khaki. I'll find out in a moment. And let's just do a little squirt of black here. This separated quickly. I just used it yesterday. Really old paint. Let's paint a little one first. Good morning, MP Model Plastic. Now, the only thing I don't like about adding all these little things is In order to make them look equivalent, I'm going to do the same thing with the British. And I don't have any little British bits that my tanks came with, because these came with all these things because they were this particular manufacturer, and this particular printer does not make British vehicles. So I'm probably going to find myself ordering some stuff off of eBay for whatever it is I'm planning on doing. Like they make a set for Crusaders, they make a set for Honeys, and blue dog and not blue dog, red dog and black dog, which one must be a copycat of the other. It's funny because one's more expensive than the other, but has cheaper shipping, and the other one is the other way around. But they make different sets for like Crusaders and Honeys and junk stuff. And depending if it's just like bedrolls, I might just attempt to try to make some of mine out of green stuff. But if not, I'm probably going to order a set of each and then just cast more, so I can modify the castings. If it's like bedrolls, you make a casting out of one and pull it out before it's completely cured, and then you can modify it a little bit more, but at least it has the core shape of whatever it is. A13s. I got 4 A13s coming, and we need to make them look different. I think that's where that needs to be. Black had good stuff. Yeah, I think black is the original one, and then there's a copycat red dog. And they both have a similar dog symbol. I don't know. One may be a Chinese copy of the other one. They both might be Chinese for all I know, but I'm going to take a look at that. I never really considered it, but these bits that came with these tanks, I can't make these guys look like this, and then the British tanks don't have anything on them. And these tanks have so much more detail than the British tanks to begin with. They almost have too much detail. Although, that's probably not. Let's bring this all the way up and make sure I'm not on the wrong. Not in the wrong place with painting it this way. I may be, but you know what? I may have just done one of my tricks, which is to leave the color, never bring it up to its core thing. So leave a little bit of black in it, and then add the white. That may have been exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. That's one of the things I like to do. All right, cool. It's starting to look a little too yellow. And I did that on purpose because the tank is yellow, and I want the sandbags to stand out a little bit. Oh, bam, everybody's here. Black is the original. Need to get British petrol cans as well as bedrolls. Flimsies. You're watching the site, okay. Black is the original. So is the red ones like, copycat? Do they make them illegal or something like that? Flimsies. And I'm not going to get into, I put the wire on there to show how it's tied down. No, I'm not doing that. It's a Czech Republic origin. You know that I that's what I don't care what they change the name of that country to. That's how I call it as well. I'm not going to call it Chechnya or whatever that. That just seems stupid. It just seems like a silly ass name. I'm done having to rename things, having to remember the new name for things that just because they rename them. And yes, I will not be calling it anything other than the Gulf of Mexico. That's ridiculous. Like, okay, like change the name of it 500 years ago, right? 600 years ago, not now. Saks. Saks Fifth Avenue. Here they are, Saks Sand. Saks O Sand. Czech Republic, that's what I like to call it. Oh, I can't get the link. I can get it on my phone. All right, you did it. I don't mind going down a I don't mind going down a um, a rabbit hole. Um, Black Dog. Yeah, I can't see the link from that. Black Dog vehicle accessories. Black Dog products. Well, here's one from Sprue Brothers. Master Radek Tomanek. I actually don't have one of those vehicles. I don't have a Packwagen. This isn't their website though. Man, there's stuff. Look, I can't make that stuff out of green stuff. I mean, they even have the stitching and the, I mean, I could after like some practice. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can see your link. Name changes by Imperial Fiat are never good. It will always be Scotland to me, not Alba. Well, yeah, if you call it Alba, one of my ancestors could be the Duke of it. All right, let me see if I can go into. I need to sign out as an incognito so it doesn't recognize me. So that when I go to YouTube, I should be able to do YouTube, Tony Aguilar. I can do WW2. I don't have to use DBA. I got enough World War II stuff. Okay. Okay, and this is my current video. I gotta watch a commercial that I did not pick. I wouldn't have picked that. Chicken sandwich commercial. Oh, I can't see that. No, the feed, I don't see it, so I'm gonna have to look for it. What's my search? What should I search for? Black dog kits. Okay. Black dog kits. I wouldn't get any if I'm just doing one vehicle because it's not cost effective. But if I'm doing multiple, Black Dog Model CZ eShop. Black Dog, okay. Aircraft, AFV, ships, AFV. Armored fighting vehicles. 1/72nd. Why would I do any other scale? I did 1/35th scale in my youth. British World War II equipment. Oh dear. Yeah, this right here. Crusaders. Oh, it's for the IBG one. It's fine. It works for the S model one as well. It's got all the stuff. Now, so you could take something like this, okay? Make one of those molds out of the Washi Washi, whatever the hell it's called, and then pull it out before it's fully cured and then modify some of the stuff so they don't look exactly all the same. I don't want all the Crusaders to have sandbags on the front. Man, this guy's taking the friggin' laundry out. That's a bit much. Wow. €15. Well, it's €15, whatever the equivalent is. So it's going to be like $20. But I get the molds to make. I got 6 Crusaders, so like, that's all right. You know. All this modern crap. Canvas for an Opal Blitz. Give me a translate to English. No, don't change it to Spanish. I'm not in that country anymore. More languages. English. Do you speak it? German Panzer III, Alf's N, Afrika Korps accessory. See, this, I wouldn't have to use this as necessarily for an N. It could be for another Panzer III. It's interesting that one of these has this row of this row of jerry cans that are bolted to the top of the roof. I may put that on one of them afterwards. It just seems awkward. Sherman accessories. Well, I have some Sherman accessories. No, just wait till we do just wait till we do some Shermans with Kulan stuff. That's gonna be a wet dream. Somebody makes one stuff for the honeys. Panzer II-C, but the Panzer IIs come with lots of stuff. I remember back in the day, the only people that did stuff like this was Verlinden. Remember old Verlinden? That was like that was the everything you judged everything by. Here's a set for the Panzer IV F1. There's absolutely no reason why you can't use this for a 4E, for instance. You don't have to use all of the stuff, just some of the things on there. That's a pretty good set. This is definitely something on my to get list. Is the M10s. Because if there's one vehicle that looks like a gypsy caravan, it's an M10. Yeah, good stuff. Bedford accessories. Stewart. Let's do a search for. Oh, it helps if I spell Stewart correctly. M5A1. Stewart Honey accessories. But this one's only in 1/35th scale. It'll give me an idea of what they got on here. Yeah, a lot of British tanks have this on the side. This like canvas that's like folded but like droopy on the side. A lot of Crusaders. I've seen pictures of that have that. Okay. Definitely stuff to check out. All right, back to the bags. Red Dog is another brand from UK. Yeah, they. So Black Dog had the idea, and then the UK is like, "Oh, we could make that shit too." Yeah, we're on the right track when it comes to the bags. All right, so we just stop. Don't bring it all the way up to the full color, then start adding the white. And that way it starts turning a bit gray, and the yellow of the khaki is not present, because I want it to look different than the color of the tank so that it stands out. Contrast, baby, contrast. And this is where 40 years of painting experience comes in handy. Sometimes I just luck out and paint something for the first time and like how it turns out. As I can see it kind of like, this is not coming out the way I want to if I keep going down this road. My wife was working on something crafty yesterday on the couch while I was accompanying her playing video games. I didn't want to be here working on this and she's over there. And it's turning out pretty well, but it's the first time she's done it. And like I told her, I said, it's turning out really well considering you've never done it before. Okay. There's those. Now that we know what the color thing is, we can paint these other two the same core color. Experiences like, okay, that's not going to work if I do that, or like if I keep going down the way I'm going, we're not going to end up with the results that I think I want to get. Now, if I could just be half as good at airbrushing as I am hand painting, or a fifth as good, but practice. At least my airbrush isn't jamming every time I use it. It's actually never jamming anymore. So got that part working well. But even if I was really good at airbrushing, I wouldn't use airbrushing to weather these vehicles. It gives too subtle of a appearance. I need a little bit more contrast than that to be able to see things 2 or 3 feet away. Was it decree by fiat? Yeah. Yeah, they renamed a bunch of military bases here in the U.S. I was reading an article this morning, and it mentioned the base. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Oh, that's Fort Benning. I'm like, I mean, I didn't even know that Fort Benning was a Confederate general or a Confederate name or something like that. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not relearning all that stuff. It's always going to be Calcutta to me. Madras, Bombay. I don't give a shit what you guys call it now. Burma, baby. Burma, baby, Burma. I don't care who renamed it or who named it originally or who renames it. It's stupid to rename shit. I don't have time for that. Or that new spelling of that Ukrainian capital. Sorry, it's always going to be Kiev to me. And not picking sides or anything. Like, look, It was Kiev before there was any Russians. Where the Rus were there, it was Kiev. That's what it's going to continue being for me. Just like when I do a lot of Eastern Front stuff, I don't call things whatever the hell the Germans called them. That just, you know, that just confuses things. You're building a Sherman M4A1 from Revell. The Revell stuff's a mixed bag. I have a couple of Revell things that are just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous models. Separate link track Panzer IV, just absolutely gorgeous. But I don't get super detailed, with like, this isn't 100% accurate. I'm like, if it's a model and I have it, I have so many things that were from a long time ago. I'm not going to get rid of stuff. What part of the world are you at, MP? Are you the Portuguese one? I want to say I know you're in Europe. The Portuguese one. No, there's like one person. There's one person from Portugal. Hey, it's a small country. I was going to say something else. I forgot what the hell it was. City of Porto. Oh, where that yummy stuff is made. I love port. I mean, I never drink it, but man, that tastes good. That tastes excellent. Last month we went. We did over 2 weeks in Spain, and one of the tour guides that we had in Madrid, he was. I was curious. I was just kind of curious. And it's on video. It was on the video that I took. I said, "Hey, so what do you guys think of the Portuguese?" Because I think it's very interesting that Portugal developed a different language or a different split of it. I mean, I just think it's very like odd how that happened. Um, and we had elderly grandparents that lived with us, and my mom had this lady from Brazil that would help her take care of one of them. And this lady spoke Brazilian Portuguese. I couldn't understand a word she said, but she could understand everything I said in Spanish. So I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Now, if you write it down, I can read Portuguese, or I could read most of it, except for technical words, which I'm not familiar with in Spanish either because I don't have a formal education. Mine's just conversational with mom and dad, and I've picked up things along the way. But But this tour guide said the same thing, that he couldn't understand what they were saying. But they would understand him, but he couldn't understand what they were saying. So, but it's interesting how it kind of developed into its own thing, its own language. I'm not surprised that it's its own country because there's Spain was split in a bunch of different ways too, in a bunch of different kingdoms. So there's no reason why they couldn't have been a kingdom of Portugal. Just interesting how it just they developed a completely distinct language. The land of cork and port. I was going to build a Portuguese army for DBA and didn't get around to it. Did enough of the okay. I used these figures and I used this other one, and you know I saw some paintings that somebody had done of some of the heraldry, and it got me excited about doing that sort of thing. You just built the Tiger One from Revell, and it's a great kit. Yeah, some people don't like building models. I do. I'm fine as long as I get to paint them. You know, that's I prefer doing the painting thing than anything else. But I don't mind building them. I do a decent enough job. I don't mind doing all of it as long as I'm not in a rush. Like, okay, I got to have this done by this weekend. Like, no, then I'm not your guy. And hey, you guys know I'm on here a lot. I do a lot of hobbying, but some of it just takes a while to do. Toma tiempo. So, and I don't know how Portugal is, but when I went to Spain, I was floored on how many books they had about historical stuff, specifically 14 to 1600s military history in Spanish that doesn't exist in the Americas. It just doesn't exist in the Americas at all. But since I'm not doing that sort of thing, I was able to successfully resist buying any of those, even though the prices on some of those books was actually pretty good. But they're available through Amazon. I made a note of what they were and who the publishers were, and if we go down that road again, I'm not in a hurry to leave the Second World War. I already left it once. We don't need to do it again. I'm going to build a Alouette, a Portuguese Air Force scheme for your father, and working now on the Fiat G93. Okay, well, I got to look that stuff up. You can't just throw exciting things like that up there, and I can't look at it. Uh, G91. It's like a jet, isn't it? It's a Fiat. Fix it again, Tony. Fiat G. Fiat G91. Portuguese. Yep, that's what I thought it looked like. Was that those ones that crashed? That wasn't the. Remember that air show in the 80s in Germany? It's actually a cool looking plane. It's actually an attractive plane. Oh, you guys use the. Does the Portuguese Air Force use the Orden de. Oh, shit. Not Calatrava. Which one is it? Is it Assis? You guys use that symbol on your aircraft? That's pretty cool. That's neat. Proyectado para desempeño de misiones apoyo aéreo próximo también para misiones de reconocimiento. Yeah, I can read Portuguese, or at least I know what the hell it's saying. You know, Italian almost as well, but there's so many Italian dialects. I was watching some Italian show, and I'm like, oh, I'll be able to pick up half of it. Hell no, they just the emphasis on different words was not what I was expecting. Okay, and what was the other thing? The other one was the Alouette. Alouette. Oh, Alouette is a cute little helicopter. I don't know what the Alouette 2 is, though. Alouette dos. Oh, that's a really basic one. Maybe I'm thinking the 3. Yeah, I'm thinking of the 3. Alouette dos. 132nds. That's big. I always wondered why they didn't make 135th scale aircraft, or make, like 132nd and 135th should be combined. I guess it's the same thing as 172nd and 76th. It's like close but no cigar, and you could probably mix them if you're not like a super purist. Yeah, I wonder if that's those ones that crashed. You know which ones I'm talking about. The ones that was in 1985. There was a air show. Italian jets crash Germany. Germany, 1985. Yeah, the Ramstein one. No, those were Ariamaki MB339s. Aramaki. Oh, that looks totally different. That looks like a trainer type aircraft. Yeah, I want to take my daughter to an air show, but I don't really need to see stunts. I just want to like, hey, have the planes fly over so you can hear them. You don't need to fly low to the clouds or do a crowd or do death-defying shit. That's completely unnecessary and risky behavior that's not needed. I don't want to see the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels, and I don't want to see aircraft that are painted in weird, gaudy colors. I mean, just like show me what they look like and fly around. But the kind of planes I want to see, the Warbirds, the World War II stuff, just isn't. Every day there's less and less of them flying around. I remember there was a B 17 and a Heinkel 111 that were flying around. This was probably every bit of 30. Let's see, I was already at work, so say 25 years ago. 25 years ago, they flew into the local airport here. They're going to be there midday, and I'm like, how the hell am I going to see them? So I went to lunch. I rode over there just to see them. I couldn't get to them. They were on the other side of the fence. But I was close enough to see a swastika of unusual size. That's pretty creepy. It doesn't bother me, but I wouldn't ride in a plane that has a swastika in it. That's just like bad juju. Like nothing good can happen from that. You have a list to build from him. Was it things that he served in the Air Force? I don't think I've ever seen anybody war game the I'm sorry, not the Portuguese. I'm sorry, the Brazilians. Brazilians in World War II, like a mechanized brigade or something like that. That was in Italy. Used a bunch of P-47s too. We were going to go to Lisbon on our stop on our cruise, our European cruise that ended up never happening because they canceled the cruise. I'll tell you one thing though, there's one thing about Europe I absolutely loved that I would not have gotten to experience on a cruise, and that's all the walking. Because, it's not that I love to walk, but there's like things to look at while you're walking. Unlike this country where there's, the history here is trash. I'm gonna piss somebody off with that. Well, I don't care. It's true. Or the history might be interesting, but I'm sure as hell not interested in it. Trash history. The last build is a T-37A trainer. It's the same plane used in Vietnam, the Dragonfly. Is that the one with the split tail? There's some. No, that's the Bronco. And was the Bronco even used in? The Bronco's an interesting plane. How do I know that? I'm working at a hobby store in the early '90s. The Bronco's an interesting aircraft. We can't talk aircraft. I'm gonna get tempted into like ordering a model or something like that. I don't need to do that. I already got two that I started, but what I need to do is get ones for Rex for the airfield. I think a CR-42 should be the first one I should build. Let's bring this up a little bit more. I'm actually pretty good about surfing around a lot on the internet, finding cool stuff, and then putting it in my shopping bag and then just never purchasing it. Like, I get all the thrill of buying stuff and without the expense. Brazilians should be easy to do. U.S. equipment, they were browbeaten into joining the Allies, and re-equipping was used as a carrot. Huh. Well, I won't paint the troops because it's the same thing as doing French or Polish in 1944. There's no point in doing Polish in 1944. Like Falay's Pocket, they have the same equipment as the British. You know, Same thing with the French. The French just have American stuff. With Shermans, they just have that big triangular placard on the side of their turrets. It's not the turrets, or hulls. Like, but you could do like a Brazilian armored car or something like that, and just use regular troops. But my figures have names on them on the back. I'd have to, it all have to be Brazilians that had, um, American names wouldn't exactly work. I didn't realize they were browbeaten. Well, what's his name was in power at that time, wasn't it? Perón was in power, and he was. I would have thought that he would have been on the side of the people like Franco, you know. But some people, even though they're fascist, they knew how to play their cards right. Like Franco played his cards right. He's like, I'm not going to join your side. Looks like you fuckers are going to lose. Mm, there we go. OV Bronco was one of the best propeller planes used in Vietnam, like T-37, and they have O2 Skymaster. I know what that looks like. Used in Portugal. Cessna O2 Skymaster. Yeah, I want to say there's one guy at the hobby meeting yesterday that had won one of those as a door prize. The only thing I am a racist about is scale. I'm not building any. If I'm building aircraft, it is only 1/72nd scale because then you could compare it to this. You know, now I don't like 1/48 scale at all. I just don't like it, and I mentioned the other day why I didn't like it. I had a. It was the scale that was the closest to the Lionel train set that I had, and my dad got me this Lionel train set as a kid, and it really annoyed me that anytime I went into a store, they never had anything for it. They had everything for HO scale. So I was like bummed out that I had this train that I could never buy shit for. And maybe that's where my 1/48th dislike comes from. But never liked 1/48 scale. They never made 1/48 scale anything. Well, now they, Tamiya and stuff makes 1/48 scale tanks. But too little, too late. As much as I love Tamiya, I don't know if I'd love them as much now as back then. But back then, their instructions were the best. Now I look at them and I was looking at the paint schemes for. I went on ScaleMates to look at some of the instructions, and they would look a bit not what I remember them being. They were a little bit lackluster and vaguey with paint colors. I was more easily impressed when I was younger or something. Use a lot of M3 light tanks. Post-war, they upgunned them to 75 millimeter and called them X1. Used until the 90s, till they developed the Osario tank. Brazil was still close to Portugal and wanted to remain neutral like the former colonial power. Stewart with an M3 with a 75 millimeter, huh? Well, why did this one start turning gray? All right, well, let's tinker with this. Let's tinker with this. Let's add more khaki. It's definitely khaki was the color that I used. I mean, I had it out here, so I'm like, what else would I use it for? None of it's in the Afrika Korps guy. That'd be the other thing it could be in. Unless that's what I used for his helmet. Did I use this color instead? Let's see. It ain't nothing to repaint this stuff. I paint it super, super thin. Let's see if I was just completely mistaken. Ooh, that one's. I'm not a fan of these army painter colors because they don't blend well. But man, that felt good. Let's try this. It's unusual that on my first go at something, meaning the sandbags, that I would have picked a color that wasn't brought up all the way to the core color. That's unusual for me. We'll figure this out, and it'll be something else that we're really good at. Like I like to say, every time there's a chance to roll the dice, it's an opportunity for greatness. The Osorio tank is a project in failure in Brazil. It was a mixture of different technologies, different countries. It was a failure. Yeah. Portugal used leopards, right? Portugal and Spain, or at least leopard twos. I discounted skeleton bone because it was back here in the back, but it was on the table. Well, I would have written this down if I thought it had been of that important of a significance, but it's not. We just weren't 100% efficiency with picking colors. Well, the closest thing that I have to Portuguese things is I do have that Osprey book on South American battleships, which is actually a fascinating read. Mm-hmm. Oh, I gotta stop what I'm doing and do that brown wash. That's gonna take some time to cure. It's not gonna take that long because it's little, but it's a tiny little area. Just on the road wheels here. Wish it wasn't glossy. Yeah, I wish it dried immediately. Like, okay, now we can move on. There's that one guy that does the God, what's his name? Barry Hilton. He makes those sailing ship rules, and those beautiful war game boards to play his sailing ship rules on them. I'm not a sailing ship person fan, mainly because I find that a lot of those ships kind of look the same unless you paint the sails different or add little things on here. But there's some scenarios where he's done with, like, Portuguese carracks and junks in the Far East, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, I'd play that. I definitely would play that. And anything that you see that's not necessarily like the period that you're really interested in, that really motivates you, it's like I I like when you see things like that. But I played a sailing ship game one time, and it was like it involved pre-plotting, and every time I wanted, and it wasn't wooden ships and Iron Man. I played wooden ships and Iron Man, and it was okay, but wooden ships and Iron Man is a little too Napoleonic, and I'm not into the Napoleonic period. But something in the 1600s. Oh yeah, I could get into that. But I'm not going to do other things if it compromises doing, World War II stuff. But still, it was, man, some of those are really, really cool. Really cool, some of those. Yeah, he has got something like some port India or whatever. Goa. What's that? That port in India where the Portuguese had a trading base there. And he did a scenario around that. I was like, man, that's really freaking cool. That's really cool. Okay, I think this is the color that it was. It doesn't really matter that much. I just kind of wanted it for consistency. And I was happy how it turned out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to add some white to it. It's funny, this is not something I usually, struggle's probably the wrong word, have issues with. This is not something I usually don't hit it right on the head the first time I do it. There we go. That's what it was. Barry Hilton, I think, is Scottish. Now that I think about it. I want to say I saw him in a video, and he did some video about something, and I couldn't understand what he was saying. His accent was so heavy. But he does amazing work. I think he's got his own World War One miniatures or something like that now. Although I wouldn't do 14800 scale just because of variety or lack thereof. There's not that, but there we go. Geoffrey is a Scotsman. Who is your most hated historical character? What is one of the most hated known historical characters? Is it somebody like Longshanks, or are there people worse than that? Hell, it might be one of your own turncoats or something like that. Who's Scotland's most hated? Patterson. Barry was a regular at Scottish shows in the 90s. He did really good participation games. Yeah, I don't know that his rules have as much detail as I would want them, but man, the boards he does are freaking gorgeous. At least the sailing ship stuff, just like mouth-wateringly gorgeous. And motivational. Like, it's like, man, I wouldn't mind doing that period. Like, when you get reactions like that, you're on the right track. And he does those things on his blog where he puts the little name of the ship right next to it. It's just really, really, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Okay. Now, if I can remember which one it went with, I think it was this one. Or is this one that goes on the roof? That's what it is. This one goes on the roof. You think Cromwell is hated more than Longshanks? Really? I guess I need to watch one of those history things. I'm totally ignorant of that. Of how Cromwell screwed you guys. I didn't know that. There's a nice stained glass window of as in Westminster of Longshanks as a young man without any facial hair. I like those. I like the Plantagenet lions. I like anything that has lions. That means I like the Scottish lions too. I like animals, as long as they're done right on heraldry. Big fan. Well, it depends on the animal. You wouldn't want like a three-legged donkey or some shit like that. All right. Now that we know what we know, over here, let's see if we can remedy this quickly without having to redo the whole thing. And if we have to redo the whole thing, we have to redo the whole thing. I should have painted all the, like, man, I was on a tear. I should have painted all the sandbags. I don't mind them, a couple of them being different colors and stuff like that. Actually, I think that's exactly how we're going to go about it. Last time I saw Barry was at Targe, or is that Target? Is that a store there in Scotland? I'm off to Target in Kir Kiri Kirriemuir. Kirriemuir, how to do? In Kirriemuir, about 10 years ago, when he was demoing the man, I need my glasses. Demoing the Beneath the Lily Banners rules. Kirriemuir. I do better than most Americans. I know that's not saying anything, but hey, at least I want to pronounce things the correct way. That's a step in the right direction. That's more than a lot of people could do. Like, nah, this is how I'm going to say it, and that is what it is. I'm going to leave lunch. See you later, Tony. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the company. Lunch sounds good. I could eat all day. I could eat all day long. Seems like it. Yeah, those are all about the same size. I'm going to leave some of these in this other color and see if they don't look like a mixed bag. Close pronunciation. It is the hometown of J.M. Batty and Bon Scott. Okay. A Targe. Yeah, exactly. A small target shield. Like sword and buckler men. Target. That's what we call Target. Some people call Target. Instead of Walmart, Target. They may not have Target in Europe. Hopefully you don't. There was no WalMarts in Spain. I like that. No need. No need for that trash. Yeah, because yeah, the Scots had some sword and bucklermen type troops. Even when people were using muskets. In Spanish, we would call those guys rodeleros. And same thing, guys that fight with the little shields. Actually, technically, it's defending with the little shields. Although you could probably fight with them, you can bash somebody's head in with one of them, knock them off guard, and then, stab them. Give me a minute, and this will actually look better than the other ones. That's what I'm used to. Redoing things and like actually finding out that, oh man, I did a better job than I did the first time. That's what I'm used to, not failure. Not when it comes to painting, anyways. I have failure in other parts of my life, but it's not painting. That's why I like to paint. Oh, something I'm actually good at. Man, I saw in the news yesterday. I didn't even know that Roger McGowan passed away. The last thing I had heard about him is he had one of his houses that was in the California fires. Well, I don't know how many houses he has. I mean, I don't know that the guy was rich or whatever. All I know is I freaking loved his inspirational freaking artwork for war games. I'd heard that one of his house, he had a house in the California fires that went up in smoke. I did a The first year I was in college, I was taking graphic design stuff, and you had to pick an artist to like copy his work, do something in his style or something like that. And I had picked Roger McGowan, and no, of course, nobody knew who the hell that was. And of course, the best military artist, in my opinion, of all time that I can think of on a whim is a Scotsman. He better be with that name, Angus McBride. Angus McBride stuff is wow, just that's like the gold standard as far as I'm concerned. There's nobody better than Angus McBride. And he had, yes, he had a style that his figures were done in. He had a particular Angus McBride face. It was a great face. He passed away just when I was getting into ancients, maybe a couple of years after that. The Highlanders were predominantly sword and buckler men, even when armed with muskets. They would fire one volley and then rely on a Highland charge to sweep away the operation. Well, that makes more sense than just sit there and, you know. I take it you have tartan colors. I guess it would stink if you had like tartan colors and you hated like the tartan colors that you got assigned to you. Like you don't pick your tartan colors, whatever your family has. Like man, I wish it was. I'm gonna need to marry into another clan just so I can get better colors. You saw Roger's death announced yesterday. Sad loss. His work on Squad Leader was immense. The piece of artwork that I did on my assignment was a game that I had that I never played because it was too complicated for me at the time. But I really liked the cover of it, and it was Suez 73. And the cover of Suez 73 was really cool because it was like four different things. There was like a centurion here, and a Egyptian soldier here, and and it was in color. Yeah, the squad leader stuff's pretty iconic. I like the American guy the least, and the German guy shouldn't have picked an SS guy. An SS is just a very small portion of the Wehrmacht. They should have just. Actually, some people would probably argue it's not part of the Wehrmacht. But anyways, I've spent my whole life playing World War II stuff, and I can count on one hand how many times I've played SS. and it was probably in squad leader. I don't have any SS guys, so maybe one day, you know, get some Canadians and have them fight over stuff. I'm not offended by SS stuff. It's just, back when I was wargaming, people didn't get offended that it was like, oh, there's an SS guy on the cover of Upfront. And there's probably people that really like celebrate SS shit. Screw those guys. I don't even think their uniforms are better. I mean, sure, their camouflage patterns are cool, but I don't get into that shit. Let's see, how close did we get? We got similar. I should be happy with that. I should be happy with that. It'll look good once we get it on the actual tank. Which is the one that's on the roof? This one? Yeah. You can have Leslie or Fraser Tartan. My mother-in-law went to Scotland. I think she went to Scotland. And she brought me back a scarf with tartan colors on it. And I don't know how she guessed it. I freaking love the colors. And it came with a little tag. These are the colors of clan something or another. And I thought I saved it, and I can't find it. I want to say it's Thompson or something like that. But it's like, and it may be fake. It may be like, this isn't really, it's just bullshit to sell these scarves, right? But it's like a couple different shades of gray and just a little bit of red, and I absolutely love it. I wear it every chance I get. That's pretty cool that she got me something. I really hit the nail on the head. I really, really like that. And she got one for my wife as well. I don't like her colors as much. You got what, Leslie or Fraser? Okay, let's see what we got. Let's see how you did. Leslie Tartan. Oh, that's nice. Oh, yeah, but there's lots of different variations of it. Scotland shop. Yeah, that looks nice. And what was the other one? Fraser. Fraser. You have a homework assignment. You got a lot of time to complete it. See, this looks like a bit like hokey, like Scottish inns. Like it's too loud. Yeah, this is nice. Outlander, Jamie Fraser. Okay, but that might just be a movie thing. That's nice. That's nice, subtle and classy. And your homework assignment is going to be, I've got that Scots guy, that the bagpiper. Like, what tartan should I paint that guy in? It needs to be accurate. It should be accurate. All right, we need to do dry brush here and dry brush here. And first we got to do the sand. It's gonna be a little while before I paint him, but I can't wait to make annoying freaking sounds when playing that. Hold on a second. Times. I'll be right back. I need to get a soda. I'm gonna go get that scarf. This. I love this. I love it. 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 It goes with everything. I don't know. It might not be a legitimate one. I love it. I don't know. It might just be a tourist trap thing. I want to say it said Thompson or something like that. I love it. And there's probably other ones I'd love too. Dresses everything up. You know, there were a few English battalions that wore kilts. The Liverpool Scottish were one of them. I heard that they didn't really use them in World War II, except the one guy that was at Normandy, and he was with that whatever that unit that had those, like the commandos or something like that. He's a famous guy. I'd never heard of him before, but he's a famous guy that played the bagpipes at Normandy or whatever. Oh, all the way over there on the eastern end. Whatever the name of that unit was. I can't remember what it is. But that's what I heard. But look, my dude's wearing a kilt. My dude's wearing a skirt. It's a kilt. And he, how do you know it's a kilt, not a skirt? Because I'm not wearing panties. Yeah. Oh, these things are cheap. I mean, they're less than I would have thought. I love it. I mean, it freaking goes with everything. I start looking at them or I'll end up ordering another one. And I don't live in a place where you can use them all the time, unfortunately. As long as it's no mini kilt. Uh-oh, now you're going to make me look. Now you're going to look at mini kilt. And I'm going to do it just for me. I'm going to put girls in mini kilt. Yeah, I like mini kilts. Yep, yep. Yep, they're hot. Okay, dark sand. Reminds me of those Peter Pig Highlanders being rude. Well, remember, I've got that rude peasant guy that's like bent over. Feast your eyes. I was going to use that silly Disney movie as inspiration for my pre-feudal Scots. No, I wasn't inspiration, not paint shit directly from that, but you know, never got around. Hey, one day I'll do. How about if I ever do ancients and medieval again? The very first army I do is pre-feudal Scots. I don't know if I can make that bet right now, but that was one of the ones I was looking forward to because I ended up being a big fan of taking armies that on paper look lackluster and boring, i.e. Vlad the Impaler's army, and make them look interesting. And that's got pre-feudal Scots written on. Besides, I've got all those flags still. I've got those Little Big Man Studios, and I already knew which flag I was going to use for my Scots. See, they're already my Scots, and I haven't even painted them yet. See how I did that? Appropriating shit. Okay, so this is the color that we need to paint on it. First, oh no, way too bright. There we go. You had me at mini kilt. Now, could you guys, you kilt experts, look at something and go, that's Irish, that's Scottish, like immediately? Like I can look at heraldry and go like, that's not from France, that's from Poland, or is there stuff you could see immediately that's like distinguishing marks of? ¿Dónde está? Over here. I like Peter Pig figures. They're cool. Even though they all have a Habsburg chin, or many of them do. Waiting for somebody to say, many kilts aren't just for girls. They are in my world. I don't want to see Ben in one. No offense, Ben. It's for your own good. Don't wear one. I'm going to leave these jerry cans black. I'm just going to go over them with this weathering. And no, I don't like the white stripe on them. Like you need to bring your own water, man. It's not the Panzer's responsibility to bring your water for you. I know you can use the water for other things too, but something popped up and I didn't hear what you said. Might be for the best. Yeah, I don't want to give you any ideas. I don't know how this is going to look. I don't like this in practice, having this big old piece of track draped over the tank, but may end up being just fine. Oh, what happened last night? So my wife is working on something that's crafty, and I've been video gaming while that's happening on the couch next to her. And I was hunting. What are those things? I was trying to catch nightingales or something like that. It's definitely a game that is you play for the long. You play the long game for sure. What time is it? I'm gonna go wake her up in about half an hour. We're supposed to go grocery shopping this morning before it starts being a pain in the butt. We're gonna go to the old Aldi. I'm trying to go there to save money, man. The groceries just after going to Europe. There's this one grocery store chain here in the southern United States that is just has a monopoly on everything, and the prices are just out of control. They're just out of control. And after seeing the prices you guys aren't paying for things in Europe for food, got a little jealous. Like, okay, well, we need to see if we can like look at other alternatives. Yep, KCD baby. Yeah, it's okay. It's definitely a long haul. Like, and I did fight that little noble guy or whatever. I beat him in the arrow thing, or we tied, and then it said that I won. But he then me beat the shit out of me in the sword thing. I'm not much of a swordsman yet, but I think the way I'm gonna be have to take people out is like I have to sneak up behind him and then like get the first three licks in, and then they're done for. Like fighting dirty. Fight him dirty. Okay, this guy here. I'm deciding whether or not this is the point where I need to glue this and then detail the other stuff afterwards. I think that's how I handled the last one. Let's see how these little things. Hans Capon, yes, Hans Capon, he got his pretty boy ass over there, and I suck with arrows though. I mean, I wish my life depended on other things other than arrows because I'm really bad at them. And actually, Teresa took down, how many barbarians did she take down? Probably 7 or 8. And I was sad for Mutt. That was kind of sad. And I'm not a pet person. They killed my dog, bastards. Okay, so you cover up the big 2, but not the 211. I can live with that. There's still a big 2 on the back of the turret, so I can live with that. Okay, this one has no space for that one. This is for the front of the turret on one of the other ones. I've seen eggs at $14 a dozen on some posts in the U.S. That's extreme. They run about $8 or $9, 7 to, you know. But I don't eat eggs, so I don't actively don't eat them. It's just if they were $2 a dozen, I wouldn't eat them. I just something I'm not used to eating. But okay, I think. ¿Cómo va esto? See, I don't mind if I have to repaint a tiny little spot on here. I want to. It's like it's ready to like glue in its place. Where it goes. This fits underneath. There we go. And this fits. So, I think that's right. Let me scooch these over a little bit more. I think that's where that goes. Probably don't even need to glue that one in. And then this one. Yeah, we're getting bent on food prices. We're getting bent on food prices, and the food here in the United States is mass produced and somewhere not even close to it. So, if you're going to mass produce things and you're going to put a bunch of preservatives and shit in it that you shouldn't have, if you're going to create a bunch of unreal food, it needs to be cheaper. But to be more expensive and more fake makes no sense. Some heads need to roll. Because in Europe, the food in Europe, or at least the food in Spain, I didn't eat long enough in Britain to really notice, but I suspect it's probably the same as Spain, was more real and cheaper. And that just, But we let everything in this country get taken over by freaking corporations. Because we're stupid like that. Okay, this little guy is going to go on the front of this. And this one is going to have the one on the roof. Or at least I'm going to look and see what it looks like on the roof. Yeah, it's a keeper. It's a keeper. And then we're going to put this. This is going to be glued like so. Okay, I think we're ready to make a move and glue these things in. So, against my better judgment, I'm going to use super glue. Why? I'm not a fan. But I don't want to mix up a bunch of epoxy just for that. And if it falls off, we just go and glue it in the same damn place again. It's not like they have to travel with these things or anything. Now, where the hell is it needed? I don't want to use the exact. Here it is. Here's that little bastard. Turkey are sending one. Turkey are sending one what? 1500. $15,000 turkey. Turkey taunt. Did somebody take over your computer? You got a job where they pay you by the lines of text. Turkey. It's like some warning thing. Oh, the Turks are sending a nuke. It's heading this way. What? Ton of eggs. Yeah, my wife has them. I really don't have them, and it's not because I dislike them or anything. It's just not one of those. It's not my my breakfast habit. Let's put it that way. My wife is an absurdly good cook, and especially if it's something that she invents. If she follows a recipe, it's not her fault. If she invents something, it's wonderful. And her eggs, her scrambled eggs are, I mean, everywhere else sucks compared to her scrambled eggs. And she said, well, I don't do anything to them. I said, well, you obviously do something. Then it's witchcraft. Okay. And now these little guys, I'm going to put a little splooge. I don't know if we want to put something in our mouth from Turkey. So, what are those things called? The Haribo um, gummy bears, right? They make them in two places. They make them in Germany and they make them in Turkey. And the ones in Turkey suck. And the reason why they suck is because I think because they're halal, which means they can't, use certain products and they taste weird. So I'm used to eating pork things, so, the German ones they are. Not that it's something that I eat all the time, but anytime we buy those and my daughter wants to get them, we check to make sure they're made in Germany. Ah, Snapdragon. There we go. I don't know if that's going to sit where it's supposed to, but we're going to put one little spot of glue. Does it matter which way I do it? It shouldn't. I'm not going to glue that one in. That's too difficult to get in there. It's not going to fall out. And it's not like the underneath side's unpainted. It's like, oh, I got to cover it and make sure that that doesn't fall out of place. So like the bottom's painted. Never built my Seljuk Turk army. There's lots of stuff to do that I already have the figures for, so maybe one day, but keyboard trouble. Turkey sending out tons of eggs. Actually, let's not grab it like that. Let's see, can we grab it on the outside? Yeah, it's probably a little bit better. Come on. if I'm not happy with how this turns out, I'll just turn around and epoxy the bits that fall off. I just didn't want to fire up the epoxy train if I didn't need to. And this was cockeyed a little bit on purpose. Okay. Now, one of these is finished all the way. This one. Well, we're still going to do a little bit of black lining in between the little parts there of the track. But, and then we got to paint a Panzerführer too. Way too tall. We need to cut this guy down to size. Where's mine? There's no chance of being able to see what the hell's going on over there without my glasses on. There it is. There's the Tamiya cutters. I'm not going to paint him right now because I'm going to end up being rushed doing that. So let's go ahead and get the drippings. And let's go ahead and soak this up so we don't have a transfer problem. All right. Let's do the gnome oil first. We're going to go right over here to the one with the tracks. Anything else we need to do to the new things that we added? Yeah, they could use a little bit of shade there. Okay, none on the bags. This has been black lined. Although it looks like I had missed a few spots that I might want to stand out a little bit more. The problem is these look really individual looking, and I gotta do the same thing with the Brits, or it's gonna look weird. It's gonna look weird. So it's gonna look weird to me. Maybe nobody else will notice it, but I'll be like, "What's going on here?" All right. And we do need to do the muffler on the back, the wood on both of these as well. So we got to do those same type of stuff that we did yesterday. So let's grab beige brown. Come on. Let's get beige brown here. Mr. White. Mr. Black. Got a little bit of a twinge. I'm gonna take care of that before it gets out of control. This color, which is what we're using for the cover on the barrel, the dust cover on the barrel. Well, a little bit of dark sand, which is what we're using on to mix with the cover for the cover of the barrel. I think that's it. And also the orange. Where's that bloody orange? Where's the bloody orange? All right. I'm gonna take care of the twinge. Be right back. Luckily, I don't get headaches very often. It was just starting. Oh, and we need the magic water. All right, let's do the wooden parts. This ends up being a little wet, so it needs to set for a little bit. The wooden bits. So unlike how I painted these all in one unit, I may not be able to do that with the British. And the reason I may not be able to do that with the British is because of the counter scheme. And the problem with the counter scheme isn't that it's difficult to do or it doesn't look good. It's just that it's the same for every vehicle. So I don't know if I want to paint 4 A13s all painted exactly the same way. Jeffrey, do you have the A13 the Ghost Division scenario book for Rommel traipsing through France? And if you do, are there any scenarios that the British are in there? There are scenarios the British are in there with a BEF that have A13s in them. Because I'm not happy with the models that I have now that there's the correct model for the A13 or the more common model for the A13 in North Africa. I know the one of them is the 3D printed one. I'm not a huge fan of how it turned out now. I may repaint it as in temperate for temperate climes. So the 7th Panzer, Rommel's 7th Panzer, was all equipped with Czech 38s. I got like another 4 Czech 38s. You know, so it's a thought. The other problem with early war stuff is I'm not so sure in 1940 that every German squad leader, as a general rule, and assistant squad leader was equipped with a machine pistol. And I don't know that I've got any officers with non-coms with rifles. I mean, I'm sure I don't, but okay, that part of it's done. Let's go ahead and do the cover on the turret. That's this color. Thin it down a wee bit. And this will need to dry a little bit. So while that's drying, we can work on the, let's use a bigger brush for that. Paint the mufflers. Das Mufflern. I'm kidding. It's probably a huge frickin' German name. Flugensteinken. Or something. I got British troops with the early battle dress for Europe. What would they wear in Tunisia? Would they wear like well, AB makes some figures for Italy. So basically they got like long pants, but they got short sleeves. I think that would probably work, but to be honest with you, I'm just going to be mixing up figures as you go. I mean, I wouldn't use desert guys in Normandy, but I've only painted 4 Brits. Only 4 Northwest Europe Brits a long time ago. And it turned out really well. I liked them at the time. I wouldn't paint them the same way because I don't have those same colors. I don't have those same Games Workshop colors anymore. That's when I was influenced by Games Workshop painting guides. And probably where I picked up the prime everything in black thing. mix some more orange in here for that. One second. All right. We're back. See if we can knock these guys out. Except for the Panzer Commander. We don't want to rush that. That's something I'd actually look forward to coming back and painting in. Still paint him today. Then we'll have the Panzer IIs and see if I can retrofit that that Panzer IV. Then the only thing I'll have left Afrika Korps-wise is some motorcycles. Which look really good. Those Italy motorcycles look really, really nice. You know, there's some troop types or there's some World War II things that just scream Germans all over them, and that's one of those things. For whatever reason, I know lots of other people use motorcycles, but motorcycles and motorcycles with sidecars, that's definitely got Germans written all over. Same thing with flamethrowers. Like flamethrowers, Germans, you know, and heck, the U.S. Marines may have used flamethrowers more than the Germans, but that just screams, you know, Wehrmacht. To me, anyways. Ghost Division has only Matilda 1 and 2 for BEF forces. Okay. God, the Matilda 1 is ugly. Well, you know, a lot of those scenarios, I really think of them as being inspirational because some of them are the right size, and some of them are just too darn big. But I like the proportion that they have of their infantry forces. There's never more than like a weak platoon on one side. I mean, there's one of those scenarios into the drive and on Minsk into the Ukraine or the Smolensk one. I forget which one it is. But the Germans have a half track, a 251 half track with the engineering bridge on it. 251-7. And in that scenario, it's like them, and they've got like a machine gun team and like a weak squad or something like that. And the Russians have like 3 or 4 squads coming after them. They gotta like put the bridge down and stuff like that. That's like a really good scenario, but for the size of stuff, especially if you have the humans playing the Germans, you know. But I only have about a squad of Russians painted, and they're all FAA figures, and I freaking hate them. I got lots of Russians to paint that I really, really like from Battlefield. Really, really nice figures. But as much as I like the Russian front, that's like starting from scratch with figures. You know, I basically don't have any. Hell, I got more desert guys than I do that, so painted. So I think we're going to leave that stuff alone until we get where we need to be for the desert. And then we're probably going to go to Russia in the winter because it's just freaking classic looking. And there's lots of manufacturers that make these little Russian buildings. You can get them from, what's the name of that manufacturer? It's not Temu or however the hell you say it. It's the other one, AliExpress. Although, you know, maybe they won't be affordable after they put the tariffs on them, which I don't care. Make them here. You know, make them in Europe. I'd rather buy them in Europe than, you know. Only thing is, I don't have a winter mat. See, for this, I've got two of those tiny War Games UK desert ones. Now it's the same mat, but it's two oversized 4x, is it 6s, 4x8s, whatever. Like I can cover that whole spot out there with the two of those. You know, plus scattered terrain. It doesn't need to be completely flat. It can be scattered terrain. There's two armored car wrecks. Good times ahead. But putting a time frame on, when are we going to play our first game? I can't put a time on that. It won't be until we can do it. I also have a ton of 37mm anti-tank guns. Like a lot. Like 15 or something like that. Jose loaded me down with those, so. Door knockers. What did I need this for? To lighten up this. Got it. And this should be the last thing to paint other than the drippings. Oh, the pattern on the cable is different on the back. This has like a single one, and that has a double one. Interesting. This one has only 2 hooks, and that one has 4 eyelets. Not hooks, eyelets. Right. This. Now, another thing we said we were going to do paint up old Rommel. After the Panzerführer, obviously. It's almost time to order more of these. Takes you a while to go through 120 blades, but you can go through them. These are Nick Pros. They worked out okay. I wish I could get the actual X-Acto one cheaper, but I don't think he's too tall. I could reduce the size of the stand, but then it's could have other issues. Make sure it doesn't look. He looks like he has an earring. Doesn't he look like Billy Idol? Okay. We'll move him over here. You buy like $10 in pennies. Make sure you don't run out. they're going to in fact discontinue them. 1,000 pennies, yeah, like I'm good. I said, won't need any more than 1,000 pennies for sure. Irwin. Okay. That's dried enough. All right. Drippings, the droppings. Actually pretty happy with this product. These quick shades. For using it how I have been. I don't think anybody has brought back out the Matchbox figures, have they? I used to have a partial pack of them. I'm not really sure how I got them, but I don't ever have the whole thing. I might have gotten them from a friend of mine, way back when. I had the little Rommel figure. Never had the ones for the Desert Rat, so I didn't have the. I think the Desert Rat one comes with a little Monty figure. I didn't have that one. The people that design those sets always wonder what kind of logic they use. Like it came with a the Afrika Korps set came with a surrendering Scott dude. I'm like, how useful is that really? Like, you know. as much as I like doing vehicles, and it's painting the figures that really gets my juices flowing. I don't think that it's going to be as cold today as it was yesterday. It was like frigid in the house all day long. Not a complaint, just an observation. of rustification here around this. Oh, this one doesn't have iron crosses painted on the side of it. Well, son of a biscuit. No, we gotta have that. Damn it, man. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. there's no way around that. I don't know if I could squeeze a little Africa core palm thing here on the front of this. This one has it right front and center. Might be able to squeeze this one here. I didn't do it on the other one because it was it had a bolt with the added plate that reduced the size of that even more. But I may have to leave that for later because right now I'm ready to go grocery shopping. I'm like freaking starving. I'm like super, super hungry. So I might cut out of here sooner rather than later just to deal with the hunger. And then we'll have a little bit of detailing left to be done on this. The German crosses, the Afrika core stuff. I'll probably put one here on the corner if I can make that swastika small enough. It's going to be a challenge. I certainly wouldn't be able to do it with decals. There's no decals of that size. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to cut out of here. I'll be back on later today at some point. But so far, so good. These three are going to join the other ones. We're going to put a Africa core palm on there. This one won't have any. But these other two also have to have the German crosses on as well. On that little position there on the hull. All right, folks. Thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you guys on the next one.